It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's the Geno Jones Show. How we doing? Monday through Friday, that's me and you. Unless I tell you otherwise, my normal days are Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast. Listen, tell everybody, like, share, and subscribe. Click on that like button. Please share and tag this show, the link to the show. Please like, share, tag it everywhere, and subscribe. So we like 20 new subscribers away. Yes, subscribers away from becoming a YouTube partner. What does that mean? That means that my media company will get a check from YouTube every month. 1,000 new subscribers, and we are right there. Thank you for your support. It is so important that we support Black-owned media, like right now, right here, right now, because we're living in some precarious times. Yes, we are. Shout out to Mayor Shardell Murray. Mayor Shardell Murray, the town of Hollywood, South Carolina, the brand new sponsor. So my new sponsor for 2026 for the Geno Jones Show. Also, Mayor Shardell Murray. She's the CEO of Murray's Mortuary, 3 locations here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro area. North Charleston, Johns Island, and Hollywood, South Carolina. Let's kick off the show. Shout out to my man Bad Bunny, Benito Ocasio. You got like a long ass name. Benito Ocasio was claiming, man, he had this cold-blooded ass white suit. But I got one that's even colder that you'll see. Shout out to my man Bruce Gage, Mario Uomo. But I digress. But shout out to Bad Bunny. Listen, okay, look, I love this halftime show. It was about just bringing people together. So I'm going to give him his props, absolutely. Listen, I didn't understand a damn word he was singing, but I loved every second of his show. Personally, I did. So shout out to my man, Mr. Bad Bunny. And if for no other reason, because I know it made Orange Hitler's head explode. I know he lost his mind, and I saw some of the stuff that he said on social media. It's like, Orange Hitler, shut up. Just really. We know who you are, okay? I'm going to get back to that. Knowing who you are. Something Maya Angelou said, when people show you who they are, believe them. And believe them the first time. But shout out to Bad Bunny, he did his thing. Oh, by the way, the show is interactive. Everybody watching me live right now by 7:32 on the East Coast, 6:32, going on 6:33 Central Time, Chicago, Memphis, stand up, Minneapolis. I see you, stand up with Minneapolis, Milwaukee, Memphis, Tennessee, Jackson, Mississippi, Little Rock, Arkansas, Houston, Texas, Dallas, down in New Orleans, live in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Portland, Oregon, and Seattle, Washington, the home of the Super Bowl champion, Seattle Seahawks. We see you, the 12s. That's the name of the fans that go to the Seahawks games. They call them the 12s. So congratulations to the Seattle Seahawks. You beat the Patriots. Robert Kraft, that's Orange Hitler's boy, Trump's. So I could never root for the Patriots and Robert Kraft. Remember when he got caught? He was in that massage parlor. I think it was a little Asian massage parlor. And they raided it, and he was there. And it's like, I'm Robert Kraft, and he got off. See, when you got that kind of money, billionaire, he got off. But I digress. Hey, is Robert Kraft's name in the... I don't know. They released like 3 million pages, but they still got 3 million they haven't released. I digress. Robert Kraft? Maybe. I don't know. Just speculation. Is it possible? Sure, it's possible. I digress. So, all right, big up to Bad Bunny. You did your thing. Really, it was a tribute to Puerto Rico. Excellent. From the sugar canes and like the neighborhoods, La Marqueta, like the market. And see, shot Cardi B made a cameo. Let's see. Oh, Lady Gaga made a cameo. Mr. Ricky Martin. What's it? Living La Vida Loca. Mr. Ricky Martin made a cameo with Karol G, some other Latin artists. So, but I thought it was excellent doing this reggaeton thing, man. All right, so now, but I need to shout out because, so let's talk about the music that he was doing. Some people call it gentrified reggaeton. So reggaeton is basically, if you take the kind of reggae music vibe, because like, keep in mind, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, all these islands right in the Caribbean. I mean, right next to each other, not that far apart, right? Excuse me, all in the Caribbean. So I did a little homework. So the reggaeton music is basically reggae beats, reggae vibe, dance hall reggae, which was kind of big. Dance hall was big in the 90s. I know that I was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and the dance hall, because you'll see you had Shaba and the sister named Patra. You had some Mad Lion, and it was Shaka Demus and Plies. Murder She Wrote, Murder She Wrote. Just beat infectious. So now I did a little more digging. So apparently reggaeton, actually, the origins are in Panama. Started by a dude, it's spelled Geno, but it's pronounced El Enero, and a dude, Nando Boom. They had Jamaican roots, but it lived in Panama. So I guess they were, one parent was from Jamaica, one was from Panama. So they really started this whole reggaeton, and basically took the music to Puerto Rico. Then there was a brother named, you can Google Tego, I believe it's Tego Calderon, T-E-G-A, Tego Calderon, and another artist, Ivy Queen. Now, for those old school, if you were into the reggae in the 90s, reggaeton back in the 90s, you know who Tego Calderon is. Now, these were Tego Calderon, Afro-Latino, Afro-Puerto Rican. You had the dreads. It was about a shade darker than me. So it's clear you see the African roots there. Just like he looked like a brother from the south side of Chicago with dreads. So apparently they were doing this music, but when artists like Tego Calderon and Ivy Queen basically started doing the reggaeton, basically Jamaican dance hall in Spanish, which is how the whole reggaeton is. Reggaeton, from what I read, is basically it's like reggae in Spanish. The reggae beats. So, but Tego Calderon and Ivy Queen lyrics, they were like protest lyrics. I'm thinking kind of like, I think of like Chuck D, Public Enemy, especially Chuck D, Public Enemy. And there were other artists. There was my man KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions. So with this guy, Tego Calderon, was basically social political commentary with in Spanish with the reggae beats, hence the reggaeton. But now the government of Puerto Rico apparently didn't like it. They didn't like his music. They didn't like the social commentary. They banned it from the radio. They would raid parties where they were playing this music. So it's crazy. It kind of sounds familiar, doesn't it? It's amazing. Funny how things stay the same, basically. Different language, different country, same bullshit. So, but I just wanted to shout those pioneers because basically what you saw Sunday, if you saw Bad Bunny's halftime show, which apparently set a record. Kendrick had like 133.5 million viewers, and apparently Bad Bunny had like 135 viewers for his performance. So shout out to Bad Bunny. Uh, and you know, it's funny. And I thought about, now this is before I read the story, I saw the story. I was saying, and I was going to ask the question, I was going to say, man, what would it take to get for Chris Brown to be allowed to perform at halftime? And then I saw Chris Brown had kind of quoted, he was posted, he posted something on this social media platform. And I'm paraphrasing. They, being the Super Bowl, they really need me. I was like, come on, Chris. Bruh, really? I mean, a lot of people read it as like he was hating on Bad Bunny, taking a shot at Bad Bunny. Yeah, I guess you could maybe interpret it that way. You could, not maybe, you could interpret it that way. But it was just, the NFL doesn't need you, Chris. They don't need anybody. They don't even need Jay-Z to pick these artists. They don't need it. Trust me. They don't. The NFL doesn't need it, and really didn't give a shit. As a matter of fact, the NFL wouldn't even have black artists like this, really. Now, they had Michael Jackson in the 90s, who just, if you missed it, right here on YouTube, search Michael Jackson's halftime performance back in 1990, I believe. Super Bowl performance. I think it was out in California. If you really, the greatest ever, just check that out. Or look at Prince's performance in the rain in Miami. It was, as a matter of fact, what year was that? Was that 2007? I think 2008. It was actually the last time the Chicago Bears went to the Super Bowl. They lost. They got the brakes beat off of them by, that was the first Super Bowl that Peyton Manning, yeah, actually, it was the first Super Bowl that Peyton Manning won. And Tony Dungy was the coach. As a matter of fact, he had two black head coaches. The Bears had a head coach, a guy named Lovie Smith, and Tony Dungy was the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. They played the Bears. They beat the brakes off the Bears, and Peyton Manning finally won his first Super Bowl. But Prince was performing in the rain, which was, and it was otherworldly. It was spiritual. It was ironic. Here he is playing Purple Rain in a torrential, like a downpour. They couldn't have planned it. They could not have produced it on their own. It was just amazing. Literally, as he's playing Purple Rain, all of it was raining, but the rain was coming down in sheets. And I'm nervous because I'm like, man, you got all this equipment and all this electricity on the stage. Prince wasn't worried about being electrocuted. He playing a guitar. Prince kept playing. So, you want to talk to me about the greatest Super Bowl performance? See Michael Jackson, see Prince. But I digress. But yeah, Chris Brown basically said they need me. I'm paraphrasing it. They need me to do a halftime show. As a matter of fact, I'm going to try to, let me do this real quick. I love doing this on live TV. All right, let's see. Chris Brown. Let's see here. Hey, shout out to everybody watching. We got a lot of folks. I see you watching. Please post your comment in the comment section. Just shout at me. Let me know where you're watching the show at, who's watching and where you're watching the show. Chris Brown. Chris Brown's comment about Bad Bunny posted online. And he said, I think it's safe to say they need me. I think it's safe to say they need me. Well, not exactly, Chris. It's safe to say they, being the NFL, don't need you, brother. And I'm a fan of his music. I'm a fan of him as a performer. I've said it on multiple occasions. I've said it on this show. Usher is incredible, and you could make an argument about who's the closest thing to Michael Jackson as a performer, but I have said it before and I'll say it again. Chris is amazing as Usher is. Chris Brown is the closest thing that I have seen to Michael Jackson at his best. But at times, Chris can be his own worst enemy. And I hate that because I've been a fan of this brother. He's not so much a young man now. He's been around. Chris is in his going on late 30s. But stuff like this, you didn't need it. I think it's safe to say they need me. No, they don't need you, brother. That's a self-inflicted wound. You didn't need that. Not at all. We didn't need that. So I think it's safe to say that you didn't need to post that. I think it's safe to say they need me. No, not at all. Not exactly. Not at all. I think it's safe to say that you didn't need to post that. So I think it's safe to say that you may not wind up performing at any Super Bowl halftime show anytime soon. And I think it's a shame. I think it's a shame. But sometimes, you got, sometimes you bring stuff on yourself. And sometimes you make your bed. What's the saying? You made your bed, you got to lie in it. Sometimes you can make things harder on yourself when you didn't have to. That was unnecessary. But I digress because I wasn't even going to put that as part of the monologue. So, but I wanted to shout out to some of the godfathers of reggaeton and kind of give you the background of what you now see. Many call it gentrified reggaeton. It's kind of like, I guess, think of like the Backstreet Boys and a lot of these groups, Justin Timberlake, with having producers like Timberland, and black producers doing their music. I don't want to. I guess you could say like having Eminem, having Dr. Dre's beats, even though to M's credit, he has always paid homage and respect to the culture and to not just the producer, but the rappers that influenced him. So from that standpoint, I have to give Eminem his props because he has been unapologetic, and he has been 10 toes down, front and center. Anytime anyone asks him, he always respects and gives, at least publicly. Now, he may say and he is not a fan of Orange Hitler, not at all. So, listen, Eminem is complicated, but it's some folks, all skin folk and kin folks. So is Stephen A. Smith and Snoop and 50 Cent and Nelly. I could go on. So, but shout out to, basically going back to the beginning of this part of the monologue, shout out to Bad Bunny. You did a good job, brother. You did a good job. Even though the reggaeton artists look white, because I saw, which is like all the big reggaeton artists look, because you've got Hispanics that look white, you got Afro Latinos. Once again, this whole concept of whiteness is some made up bullshit. It is not rooted in science. But go back and watch any of my monologues from almost any week when I talk about that. Which brings me to, speaking of whiteness, and just whiteness is rooted in racism and division, white nationalism, which they like to term white supremacists, that's really that's just a misnomer. Because these people, these white supremacists, as they like to call themselves, are anything but supreme. They should call it white insecurities. Whites who are insecure, whites who are ignorant, whites who are insecure and afraid and cowardly instead of white supremacists, because that's what it is. Insecure, cowards, afraid, fearful, ignorant, all of that. But I digress. Their Orange Lord and Savior, Orange Hitler, a.k.a. Donald J. The J stands for Jackass Trump. With his racist posts about Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. You probably saw the pictures. Posting pictures of Barack and Michelle's heads on an ape. And then he tried to say, well, it was just, see, the video was about the Lion King, and that Donald Trump was the king, the lion, the king of the jungle, and these other characters, they were just characters in the Lion King. But anybody that's seen the Lion King, and if you have anyone that has a child that's, under 30, you've seen the Lion King, I'm sure, at some time. Know that there were no apes. There were a lot of different animals, but there were no apes in the Lion King. So that was bullshit. But it didn't faze me, because Orange Hitler was on brand, as they say. He did exactly what you would expect him to do. He did exactly what he has been doing for decades. For decades. Maya Angelou says, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. And believe them the first time. Orange Hitler has shown us his racism. Orange Hitler has revealed his racism publicly all the way back to 1973, when he was sued for housing discrimination in New York City. They didn't want to rent to black people and Hispanics, Latino brothers and sisters. Like if a black person went to, because his daddy was the real estate mogul and he just got his daddy's business, Fred Trump, but they would have, if a black person applied, filled out an application to move into one of these slum hole ass buildings that his daddy owned, if you were black, they would put, and it was documented. The Department of Justice, when it was actually, there was some level of justice. We talked about 73, so there was a lot of injustice, but it's nothing like, there's no more Department of Justice. Now it's just a department of just defending Orange Hitler. But he was sued by the federal government, Fred Trump and Orange Hitler, for housing discrimination. They settled it, I believe, in 1975. But yeah, that's how they could separate. They would know if there was if you were black and fill out an application, they would write it, like on the, like on the envelope. You put the application in, like a manila folder or something. They would write C on top of it, on top of the folder. So they would know, oh, call it, that's got a C on it. No, we deny that application. Just tear it up, burn it, throw it away. And they got sued for it. And they being the Trumps, Fred Trump and Orange Hitler. So he has been, in 1989, falsely accused these 5 brothers of like raping and killing this white woman. At the time, they were called the Central Park 5. They were exonerated. Now they're called the Exonerated 5. And this man spent hundreds of thousands of dollars having billboards put up all around New York City asking for and demanding the death penalty for these 5 young men, who are now the Exonerated 5. At the time, in 1989, was the Central Park 5. And of course, all the racist stuff with Obama, that, Obama, wasn't born in America, all the racist stuff this dude's been saying, and no one with any common sense or just been paying attention is surprised. But I want to leave with this. I think I'll probably revisit this some more tomorrow. My question is, for all those CEOs that was sitting with Orange Hitler at his inauguration, January 20th, a little over a year ago, Elon Musk, but we know his ass is racist, and his family's DNA. So, but your Tim Cooks, the CEO of Apple, Jeff Bezos, we know who he is and who he ain't. That's why Mackenzie Scott left his ex-wife left his ass, who shout out to Mackenzie Scott, who has donated like about $1 billion to HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, over the last, since 2020. So she probably realized his little peanut head ass was racist. That might have been one of the reasons. By the way, Mackenzie Scott, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, was a student of Toni Morrison, the iconic, legendary author, black woman, Toni Morrison, incredible author. She was one of Toni Morrison. Jeff Bezos' first wife, Mackenzie Scott, was one of her students. So apparently, something that Toni Morrison said to Mackenzie Scott rubbed off. It must have sunk in or whatever, or it connected with her, or she saw, Mackenzie saw some commonality in some of the things. I'm sure Toni Morrison's readings and teachings, because she has always been 10 toes down supporting, all kind of causes for, diversity, equity, inclusion, just fairness, and realizing that America was rooted in racism, sexism, misogyny. It's stolen land. You talk about immigrants. It's like, shout out to what's Billie Eilish said. You can't have anyone illegal on stolen land. You can't call anybody illegal on stolen land. I mean, really? The folks who stole the land are illegal. If you really had that conversation, your founding fathers were illegal. They were part of the theft, the stealing of the land from the Native Americans, not to mention the genocide, almost killed off the entire Native American population, but I digress. But to all these CEOs that were sitting with Orange Hitler on his inauguration, Tim Cook and Apple and Jeff Bezos, the CEOs, I don't know if the CEO of Walmart was there, but even if for those who weren't there, that still funded financially and supported this bullshit. I need to see the CEOs speak out against this. I need you all to show up to the White House and hold a news conference. Get in there with your man, stand around like you did on inauguration night and say, hey, listen, we're not tolerating this racism, this inhumanity. We're not tolerating innocent American citizens practicing their First Amendment right being murdered on the street in broad daylight. We're not supporting innocent 2- and 5-year-old kids being snatched up and sent to detention, basically concentration camps, 1,000 miles from their homes, snatching up elderly grandmothers and just people that have been working, paying taxes, even though they're not American citizens, but they pay taxes to the government. So you're snatching up. It had nothing to do with, we're going to round up the worst of the worst and the rapists and the killers, the murderers. That was bullshit. It was a play to get as many brown people out and to start with them and then try to figure out a way, because you've had some black people, especially citizens from the African diaspora. They're trying to go after the Haitians and take away their temporary protective status. Basically, your Orange Hitler, your Stephen Miller, all the hardcore racists, Stephen Miller with his light bulb head ass, Steve Bannon, who looks like he smells, and we know Orange Hitler, allegedly They should nickname him Shitty because it smells like he's walking around with a spoiled diaper. And it's like, dude, I guess at some point, can't you smell your, if you walked around smelling like shit and you can't smell that, that's a whole nother conversation. However, these hardcore white, and then they have co-opted this racist remix version of what they call Christianity, which has nothing to do with Christianity at all. It's rooted in power and racism. Basically, they want to have just a pure white country. But that's tricky because everybody that's considered white now wasn't considered white when this concept this racist con was created back in the 1600s. Some say as far back as the 1500s. Primarily around 1680s is when it really, this whole they call it a social construct, race, was created. And it was created to divide people, divide and conquer. And it was created by wealthy Europeans that never called themselves white. It was created to basically to keep down the poor Europeans that they call peasants, but they had to figure out, they had to find somebody for the poor Europeans to be pissed off at. Instead of being pissed off, they didn't want them to be pissed off at, they being the wealthy elite Europeans with money and power, who didn't give a shit about the poor Europeans. But they had to figure out a way to distract, and we need these Europeans, we got to find somebody for them to be pissed off about. Because we know they should be pissed off at us because we're the one that's oppressing them and, treating them like shit, sending them to countries like America, because what people don't realize, these Europeans that came to America, minus the founding fathers, they weren't sending Italy and Ireland and England, Great Britain, they weren't sending their best. The Europeans that immigrated to America immigrated because they were looking for a better life because they couldn't make it in Europe. So much for the history lesson. But I need to see these CEOs speaking out. And they haven't spoke out. So to me, that says that you're okay with this racism. So we shouldn't be okay with continuing to spend our money with these people who don't give a shit about us. But more on that on Tuesday night. Thank you for letting me be a part of your life. As always, God bless each and every one of you, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live, Monday through Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central Time, 4:30 p.m. on the West Coast. The Geno Jones Show brought to you by Mayor Shardell Murray, the town of Hollywood, South Carolina, and Murray's Mortuary. 3 locations here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro area. We'll be seeing Mayor Murray, Shardell Murray, on the show very soon. All right, thank you. If you would like to be a sponsor, if you would like to advertise and be a sponsor, like the town of Hollywood, South Carolina, and Murray's Mortuary, we would love to have you as part of the Geno Jones Show family as a sponsor or advertiser. Shoot me an email, GenoJonesShow@gmail. No the, GenoJonesShow@gmail, and I will email you all the sponsorship information you need, or you can financially support the show right now via Zelle. Geno Jones Show, no the, Geno Jones Show, all one word, @gmail. You got that? Geno Jones Show @gmail on Zelle. Cash App, $Dad G Jones, all one word. Capital D, lowercase a d, capital G J, lowercase O-N-E-S. No amount is too small or too large. Please like, share and tag this episode and every episode. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell everybody, call to action. Tell all your friends, all your enemies, folks you know and don't know, to subscribe to the Geno Jones Show YouTube channel. Only 20 new subscribers away from our media company and the show becoming a YouTube partner. So that means I'll get a monthly, not me, my media company will get a monthly check from YouTube. So I want to thank everybody in advance. Thank you for watching. Everybody, thank you for the conversation in the chat room. So we will see you live Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.